Let me start off by saying that when we had one of these broad budget hearings previously, the issue of the Office of Refugee Resettlement came up. I asked you if you would come and talk to the Oversight Subcommittee about it. I want to commend you and thank you for keeping your word, and we had a hearing on it. I do share a lot of the frustrations that you heard from Ranking Member Eshoo earlier in regard to what we're doing, because I do think that, and as I've said many times, we may not agree how they got here, but when we have an unaccompanied minor come into this country, it is our responsibility to take care of them. And I agree with Ms. Eshoo that the failure to do so, doesn't matter why or how, is a stain on us as the committee that has jurisdiction over it, and a stain on the United States.
May I comment on that?
Yes, you may.
Thank you very much. First, I agree with everything you've just said. But remember, my jurisdiction, my authorities end the moment I release that child into the hands of a sponsor. So trying to figure out what some employer or company is doing to them, I don't have sight on that, and you don't give me money to have sight over that.
Well, and I do have a solution. I look forward to working with Ms. Eshoo on her trying to solve this problem. I have a simple little bill, 7854, that just says that when you place them, can be before they get there, if that's when your jurisdiction ends, with a sponsor, that you all have to notify the local school division and the child welfare agency in the region, which in Virginia would be the Department of Social Services. Now, I think it's a simple little bill. I look forward to working with you. If there's something we can tweak to make y'all happier with it, I just want to see these kids taken care of. Not directly related, but somewhat related. I happen to be speaking to my favorite juvenile and domestic relations district judge. That would be my wife. And I said, are there some questions? Because they have jurisdiction over a lot of these issues at HHS. And she brought up something, and I actually had a case similar to this many years ago that was not an unaccompanied minor, but a minor. And I don't expect you to be able to give me an answer, but I'm looking for guidance. So ask your agencies to help give me guidance on this. And that would be, and the judges are having a hard time with it, if a 15-year-old comes in front of a juvenile judge with a minor charge, or it could be more significant, but it could be as simple as a traffic violation. If they do not have a legal guardian, and the sponsor without a court order doesn't count, at least not in Virginia. It's the only place I'm licensed to practice, or was licensed. I'm currently in mothballs, so to speak. But the judge doesn't have jurisdiction to try the case. The only thing they can do is put the minor, whether they're from another country or from the United States, into the care of the Department of Social Services. Now, as you know, finding foster parents, particularly for a teenager, is very difficult. So the Department of Social Services, in many cases, only has the option of placing them into detention, which, they've gotten a traffic violation in some cases. Some are more serious. Detention is not likely to be the first response of the juvenile court system, except we don't have any place to house them. We don't have any place to put them, and we don't have a process in which to deal with the underlying criminal charge. So I'm looking for some guidance. And if the judge, and so that you understand, my wife indicates to me that in her courtroom, there are 5 judges in her area, Roanoke Valley of Virginia. It happens about twice a month. That's a lot of kids. So I'm just looking for guidance. I don't need a specific answer today, nor would I expect you to have one today. But can you work with me to see if we can't get some guidance to our judges and our local departments of social services? Because whether they're, as I said, whether previously an unaccompanied minor or whether they're just somebody whose parents have flaked out on them, we need to do something for them. Would you agree?
I'm with you, and we'll follow up with you.
All right. During an oversight subcommittee that I chaired yesterday, and some ideas were coming up about how we combat improper payments to Medicaid and Medicare. One of the concepts that came up was having the state auditors do more, and of course, revenues would be necessary to do that. One of the concepts that came up as a part of the hearing, because we were trying to solve problems, not beat each other up, was perhaps on the money that the state auditors find that was going to be wasted, abused, or even direct fraud, that we give a percentage of that money to the state auditor to defray their costs in doing the audits. It's a thought. I pass it on to you. It came up yesterday. Sometimes Congress and the administration, no matter what party is going on, may be able to find solutions, I'd like to work with you on that as well. Would you agree to do that?
Congressman, I think if any state attorney generals are listening to this, they are going to give you a kiss, because when I was an attorney general, one of the things that we wanted is to have the resources to work with the federal inspector generals to do more of this fraud detection and work. And so I think anything we could do to get those inspector generals, the attorney generals to get out there, it's going to bring us money. It's proven. You do fraud control, every dollar you spend on that with those inspectors brings you back about $4 or $5.
And we can spend it on other things. My time's up. I yield back. Thank you, Mr.
Gentleman
Chairman.
yields
Thank you,
back.
Mr.
Chair
Secretary.
recognizes Dr. Reese for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Secretary Becerra, for being with us here today. In January, I joined many of my colleagues in sending